Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's Miss Earl, and today we are going to be making Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts are the highly requested project that you guys have been asking for so you guys can make Pop-Tarts at home. Today we are going to attempt to make a Pop-Tart with a tabby at the end so you guys can hang them up. Alright, so I'm going to show you what you need and then we can get started. Awesome! So today you're gonna need a brownish, maybe piece of felt. You can even go with a different color, like more of a chocolate brown, but I'm gonna be using this like kind of toasty color, this tan off color. It needs to be 9 by 6. Then you're gonna need a second piece that is 6 by 3. This is almost square, but it is 6 by 3. And then you guys are going to be needing some fabric glue, a Sharpie, pair of scissors, some 100% cotton thread, this is the kind I use. You're gonna need a piece of needle and thread. You'll need a ribbon if you'd like to attempt the hook, and you're gonna need our puppy paint. A variety of colors is nice to use. I use about 3 or 4. And then last but not least, something to stuff your Pop-Tart with to make it 3-dimensional. I'm just going to use scraps today because that's what I had on hand, but you can use anything from cotton balls to actual stuffing. Alright, let's get started. Alright, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your felt and you're going to put your name on it. I know that kind of sounds weird, but try to put your name kind of on one side of your cloth there. And after that, you're going to fold over your felt piece by half, and you're going to make sure your name is on the inside. When you do that, you're going to make sure that you know where that fold is on your felt. Notice that I have that nice loop so that you don't have to sew that. That doesn't make any sense to sew something that doesn't need to be sewn. So I'm going to put a dot right on that side, and I'm going to put an S. Okay, that's where I'm going to start my sewing. And then I'm going to make a letter L shape so you can see that. That's where I'm going to sew. You don't want to sew necessarily on the side, like complete edge of your Pop-Tart, or else you'll see it. So I'm going to move inward a little bit, and I'm actually going to put a second dot and put an F on there for finish. Okay? So after that, we're going to get our sewing and our sewing supplies out. When tying a needle and a thread, you're going to take the spool in one hand and you're going to pull it all the way through at arm's length. So when you do that, you're going to have a long piece of thread. I already pre-cut mine, but it's going to be as long as your arm length or your wingspan. You're going to take one side and you're going to put it through the eye of your needle. I'm just using a really big needle right now to show you how to do this, but normally I would not be using that size of a needle. You're going to make sure you match the edges up with themselves, so it doesn't have to be super perfect, but you want to try your best to get them to match up. So this is the tail end of your thread. What you're going to do is you're going to put it on your finger and then put the needle on top. Notice they kind of make a crisscross X shape. And then you're going to wrap 1, 2, 3 times around the needle. You're going to push that down so they're tight together like that. Pinch that loop. And pinch it hard enough where you're not going to let go of those loops, but soft enough where you can press that needle all the way through. I actually made sure with my other index finger here to make sure it doesn't get knotted. And you should have a knot by the end, so you're good to go. have your needle and thread down, you're going to take your fabric, make sure you line it up again, and you're going to start sewing. Here's how we're going to do this. We're going to be using a whip stitch today, and the easiest way I can explain this to you is you're going to take your needle that has a knot in it, you're going to poke it, I'm going to start more towards the edge, poke it, pull it all the way through, poke up, pull it all the way through. Notice that we're whip stitching. Whip stitch is a stitch that goes on the edge of your fabric. Sorry, I'm concentrating on sewing here. You'll notice that the whip stitch goes all the way around, whipping around the edge of your fabric. So I'm going to fast forward this video a little bit so I can finish sewing. Notice my stitches are pretty close. You cannot, if you mess up and you get a knot, you cannot go backwards. You can either push through and keep going or seam rip, that means take it all out and start over again. I just go slow and controlled. I do not over sew as in like I speed through this because you don't want to speed through. Remember, you want to go slow. Don't overdo this. And they're pretty tight stitches. You do not want to go until you cannot sew anymore. You cannot go backwards. Oops, see, I have a knot. So just pull it backwards. Sometimes it's just it gets knotted into itself and you can undo it. And I just continue around the corner. It's okay if your edges are not super aligned, you will not see it. Fast because I am wanting to get to the end and I want to show you what to do. But when you do that, it makes it a little sloppier, so you want to be careful you're not overdoing it. Okay, when you get towards the end, you want to make sure you have plenty of thread. I'm going to show you how to tie a knot at the end to make sure you have a nice pocket like Pop-Tart. Okay, so we're at the end. I've just sewed up 3 edges. So what I do is I poke up. Notice I have lots of extra tail length, which is fabulous. You want that for sure. It makes your knot a lot easier. And it's pretty much the same thing. You're gonna push halfway through. You're gonna take the rest of that thread. You're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and I do 4 just to make sure. And you push it down, pinch, pull the needle through. Oop, there we go. I just did that. Oh. I have a special needle right now. It allows you to unhook itself. That's okay. I have a knot. And you just cut it. Boop. And then you have the first part of your Pop-Tart. When you're done, you want to turn it inside out like a sock. Like that, and you have the outer works of your Pop-Tart. Stick around for the next part. We're going to be going over the frosting and the stuffing. All right, stuffing your Pop-Tart. Here we go. Remember, you can stuff it with anything. I just have scraps, and I'm just gonna recycle the scraps because I don't like wasting good fabric here. Boop. Just shove it in there. You want some room, so don't overfill it. I do about 3/4 of the way. That should be good enough. So plenty of room to smash it down. Yep. Kind of like halfway full. So what I do next is I already have my thread threaded, but you're gonna do it again. You're gonna thread your needle and you're going to close this up. So I fold it inwards like this. So I take the edges and I push them in, kind of like a mouth and a pair of lips. Okay, nice. It's a little square today. In order to do the ribbon, this is where it gets a little tricky. But if you want to attempt the ribbon, you can. I would make a loop and I would sandwich it in between, just like that. Again, you don't have to, but you can try. I'm gonna actually start it over on this side today. This is a lot of fine motor movement. If you feel frustrated and you don't want the ribbon, you don't have to do the ribbon. It's just to make it like a hanging ornament or a keychain. So once you are happy with deciding whether or not you want the ribbon or not, and you've tucked in the edges of your Pop-Tart, I'm going to take my threaded needle. I got a new one, remember, and I'm going to push it through the top part just to hide that knot. And then I'm just going to keep going like a whip stitch, whip around. You need to be careful because it's going to want to catch the corner. There we go. And when I use the ribbon, I'm making sure that I go through all of the layers of ribbon. I sometimes go around. Ribbon is definitely for more advanced movement. So again, you don't have to do the ribbon. It's just like an extra thing if you want it. And you can get all the supplies at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or any sewing store. My thread is not as long this time because I know I had a shorter ways to go and it was actually left over. I didn't want to waste the thread, so you can do arm's length or you can do a tad shorter. Awesome is I have plenty of room. There we go. I have plenty of room to tie my needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, pinch, push through, hold, tie, ta-da! There you go. You now have the body of your Pop-Tart and you can move and adjust the fluff any way you want. All right, so the fun part. We're gonna get to the fun part of frosting in a minute. If you want to adjust, pause the video, you can. I know this is a long step. We're gonna continue in just a moment. All right. Next is your frosting. I already pre-cut my frosting out of a little 6x3. I just did some wiggly wiggles around and I cut it up. Feel free to use a marker to make your own and then cut around. Make sure your your scissors are sharp. Remember, the sharpest part of your scissors on the inside of the blade, not the edge. So you want to really cut in the back. Then after you are done, you're going to get some fabric glue. Make sure you twist it open, and then make sure when you're done you twist it closed because fabric glue is very finicky. So you're going to start, whoop, that's a lot. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. You're going to make sure you go around the edges. I'm gonna push that around the edge on the inside. And I'm gonna make a big old X like that. That's a ton of glue. Shouldn't go anywhere. Twist close. It smells kind of like vinegar. It's very potent, so be careful. And you're going to lay your Pop-Tart down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Nice. And you'll notice that you can kind of maybe see a little bit of it coming through, and that's okay. It's gonna dry clear. So the last part is the fun part. Well, this whole thing I think is fun, but the next part is decorating with puffy paint. I'm gonna show you how to do that next. So as you can see on these other examples, I did sprinkles and then I did like a big wave. So I'm gonna start with just puffy paint, just dotting about. I'm going to use the rule of 3, meaning I'm going to use 3 colors. A little goes a long way. And you're just carefully boop, 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 boop. Nothing super duper crazy. Slightly bigger. And then I'm going to do one more color for my sprinkles. I'm going to do this like hot pink. It kind of shows up, that's okay. For my last part of my Pop-Tart, I'm going to add that wave around and across. And I like to do a contrasting color, something that's very different. So I'm going to choose blue because it's way different and you can see it. And I'm going to start in the corner and I'm just going to gently wave across. Get some control, and then all of a sudden you're gonna squeeze a little harder and you're just gonna wiggle across like you're slowly drizzling frosting. And there you have it, guys. These need to sit for about, I like to say 24 hours just to get the puffy paint really tight on there and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. It is a fun project. I'm so glad you decided to make your own Pop-Tart. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Pop-Tart day. And if you have any Pop-Tarts that you made on your own, and if you have social media, tag Oak Grove Art 202. That is my tag for you guys as Oak Grove and Miss Earl to see your wonderful Pop-Tarts. All right, have a great rest of your day. See you guys again soon.